Hello, welcome to Miss Martin Muses. Welcome to Miss Martin Muses, where everything is crazy and you never know what's going to happen. Well, knock on wood that today will be a very, very boring day. And I just don't know if I will be able to keep this up. But welcome everyone coming in and that will be coming in on the replay. And I am happy to be here with you on these morning musings and able to say hi to you all. So please, about what would you like to muse? About what would you like to muse? It is open. So let's go for it. Of course, I always have things ready to go because we are living in very interesting times that seems like it can never ever take a break from. But I had a good time yesterday discussing and getting out my thoughts on the Pope Benedict. Oh my gosh, did I say Pope Benedict? That was a Freudian slip. The death of Pope Francis, the passing of the Pope, and some thoughts about what's going to be coming in the future, what has more importantly happened in the past that, while we want to speak well of the dead and wish someone well, we need to be honest about some of the situations that we were put into unnecessarily. And some people have been a lot harsher than I have in their assessments, so I feel a little bit better. I feel like I was a little gentle, but it's a sad situation whenever someone passes, and in many ways he was our spiritual father. So anyway, so that's what I was talking about yesterday. But today, well, what are we going to be talking about? That is kind of up to you all. So please, about what would you like to muse, within reason as always. So let me go ahead and share this out. I did do a short about some of the rituals about how you can tell if the Pope is dead, though technically we all know that they use far more scientific means, that a lot of it is all ceremonial. But yeah. So hello. I see you all coming in. Good to see you. I'm just going to tweet this out. I have hopefully many fun things. Well, look who it is. It is a Dega Outlaw. Thank you for being here. Yeah, I did nothing fancy, just some open musings. Did anything else happen yesterday? I don't know. It totally threw a monkey wrench in my entire day. Well, look who it is. It is Steve Kenobi. Hello. Hope you are well today. Well, yes, so far I am, knock on wood. I'm going to be incredibly selfish and wish for something boring. I want today to be an incredibly dull, boring day. Let's do it. It seems like ever since a certain poof that occurred in 2020, it feels like nothing's been right. Everything's been crazy. Everything's been nuts. Pope hammer. Well, yeah, maybe there's a fancy name for it, but yes, there was a little hammer and they kind of tap him on the head. Imagine though if they were like, dude, stop, after they tap calling by his name, they would call him by his Christian name. So in this case, it would be Jorge. That was his name. So in any case, that happened yesterday, and we've seen our first pictures of him in his coffin, and he will be lying in state. We have 9 days of mourning because, that's just what we do. Stikanoe says, they are doing that Elder Scrolls 4 stream in 2 hours. Fingers crossed. Okay, fingers are crossed. Yes, the Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion, that they are doing a remastered thing. Now, for some reason, I think we all thought it was actually going to be released yesterday. And then all that they released yesterday was an announcement. And then after the announcement, it was an announcement about an announcement, and there's going to be a stream. So hopefully we will find something there at Bethesda's YouTube channel. Yeah. Now, this is different from the Sky Oblivion, which was fan-made, where they made it, I guess, more friendly. Like, when I say, friendly, I just caused controversy. But similar to what you would find in Skyrim, I frankly would be very happy if they did that with the new remastered thing. Call me awful, call me a normie, because I am. I like my life being simple. Steve Ransom says, could that hammer be an origin artifact for the wooden stake? Interesting. I don't know the history behind it. I mean, it's not, obviously. It's not a relic, but who knows? Everybody Google, what's the story behind the hammer? Steve Kenobi says, Elder Scrolls and the Red Dead are the only two gaming franchises I truly care about anymore. Oh, yeah. Man, but they've made us wait forever, haven't they? My gosh. My goodness gracious. Yeah, I've been enjoying Red Dead. I'm playing it for the first time right now. So, yay, woo. I'm a little bit addicted to it. It's not quite as addicting as Skyrim, because Skyrim, I literally could not stop playing all night. I've been able to stop myself, but I have found myself saying, you got to go to bed. You got to go to bed. You got to knock this off. You got to knock this off, go to bed, and not stay up all night playing this. You have to focus a little bit more, I think, because it's also like a movie, and you have to watch, and you're being entertained. It's a very interesting situation. Now, I could hear people maybe in the chat saying, "Oh, for crying out loud, that's the way it always is." It's like, oh well, I'm relatively new to this, but I'm really enjoying this particular one. And of course, if you like westerns, it's great. I mean, what's not to love? What's not to love about it? So last night I decided to go hunting. I got an elk, and then it turns out I didn't need that. No, it wasn't an elk. It was a bison. I didn't need that for any of the crafting things, but it was pretty damn big, and I did practice target practice. I also shot a turkey. I shot a turkey and brought it back to camp. I decided not to do a mission because I really would not have gone to bed. Steve Ransom says, in about 10 years, the AI in your console will up-res any game in real time. I predict it. Oh, true. Good morning. 3 more days. I'm excited. Yes. Yes, thank you for being here. And going to be off to Japan. Japan. Help me out here. I think you've already told me, but the flight, isn't it like 20 hours? Or it sounds like a very, very long flight you're going to be on. Hello, Dinosaur Smart Muses Dinosaur Hunter. Oh, dear. You might like Fallout 4 too. Skyrim with guns, really. Oh, yes, I started that, but then I went back to Skyrim. I remember. That was when I just spent 3 years straight only playing Skyrim. Yeah. So here's fingers crossed for those that are really excited that Oblivion will be announced. Maybe it'll even be released. I'm leaning toward it'll just be an announcement, but people really believed it was going to be released. So help me out here, everyone. What made you all think it was going to be released, and will it? I mean, Bethesda, though, they need to get the next one out. They need to get the next Elder Scrolls. We need that. It's not quite as bad as what George R. R. Martin's been doing with Winds of Winter, but it's starting to get close. Because they really do only have one job. Okay, Steve Kenobi says, Adega Outlaw is the reason why Fallout is post-apocalyptic. He caused it. Oh my gosh. Guilty. What did you do? My goodness. Nerdpoil Life from said Fallout is very violent, heads blown off thanks to slow-mo vet system. Oh boy. Oblivion wasn't released. No, it wasn't. An announcement was released. It's like, really? I'm waiting for Dawn Walker, says Adega Outlaw. Nerdpoil Life from said 6 was delayed due to Fallout 4, Fallout 76, Starfield. Yeah, well, bleh. We all know how that ended up. Well, actually, Fallout 4 was good from what everyone's been telling me. And just now, my sister was addicted to it for a very long time. But come on, just get 6. Come on. Stephen Ransom says, I feel so left out not being raised on games that indulge the hunting spirit. Well, neither have I. I'm a very, very late comer to all of this. I got Skyrim, well, May of 2020. for no reason whatsoever. And I got an Xbox, and I really only played a few games, and one of them has been Skyrim. I like to do puzzle games. Those are fun. Those are fun indeed. Yeah. So, woo. So again, this is Opening Musings about what would you like to muse. Northport Left Form says I'm looking forward to Metroid Prime 4 this year on Switch too. Do you know about Don Walker, Miss Walker? I do not. Miss Martin, rather. No, I don't know anything about it. No. Hound 3000. Woo, we love our animals here at Miss Martin Muses. Woof woof, Miss Martins. And everybody, 2011, both. Yeah, point and click adventure games are fun. Yes, they are. Yes, they are indeed. Oh, Monkey Island. That was something that Steve got me into and had a lot of nostalgia for him. And it was a lot of fun. Very clever. Everything kind of fit together like it rhymed. Talking about Skyrim, says Hound 3000 just started playing Skyrim Special Edition. Oh, okay. Woo, it's a good time. Yeah. They added some things. They added fishing and all that, but not as exciting as it could have been, but I did enjoy the little kind of treasure hunting aspects of going and finding all the certain kind of fish. Sadly, though, you could not get an achievement, and I'm a bit of an achievement. Right, everyone's woof woofing, and oh, here it is, Don Walker game status there. All right. Steve Kenobi says Teresa has beaten all of Skyrim with every race in the game. That is true. It's insane. And I've gotten every single achievement. Every single achievement. For some reason, why wasn't that bringing that up from that link there from a day ago? Let me see. Let me try it on my phone. Maybe that'll work. I turned her into an addict. Yes, he is my enabler. He is my enabler. He is, well, I was going to say another word, but I don't know. I still don't know what YouTube likes or doesn't like. It doesn't seem like there's any rhyme or reason. And, you know, a long time ago, I gave up algorithm chasing because it just doesn't make any sense. Like, I can do a video or a short that just gets 1,000 views within a day. And then I get one with 20 views in a day. And it's like, well, there's really not much difference going on here. And, you know, timely things that I'm doing. So it's like, okay, fine, whatever. Just whatever. So I gave up. I muse about which I like to muse. Okay, I see this where it says Don Walker, things will be different now for all of you. Dun, dun, dun. Well, maybe that's a game I'll end up playing too. Well, hello, everyone that's coming in. Good morning. Good morning. Welcome to Miss Martin Muses. And give a like, share, and subscribe if you haven't already. I'm a Skyrim addict too. Yes, it's fun. Overachiever unlocked. That's right. That's me. Says no prayer life form. Is this going to be a daily morning tradition, Miss Martin Muses? Well, that's the plan. And you might recall when I was doing that for about 2 weeks in a row until I couldn't, because it depends on if I'm working or if something is coming up or if I'm going to be on a boat. So hopefully I will be here and hanging out with you all. Yeah, I've been doing these morning musings, well, since the coof started. That was when I really got going on all of this. And it's been on and off. For example, last week I had some contracts I was fulfilling, so I had to be at work instead of being here. I also will be on a boat in a few weeks. So I'm not going to be streaming then, though. Oh my gosh, wouldn't it be my luck? I want us to get this Pope fast. Okay, let's just do it. Let's get this conclave, get all taken care of. First world problem, selfish me, but my gosh, I want it all to be solved by the time I get on my cruise, because I don't want to be on a Pope watch on a cruise. There I have it. I'm selfish. Steve Kenobi says they should remake the first Elder Scrolls, the one that let you go to all the provinces. It was nuts. Ooh, well, why not? I mean, it's easy money. We'll all pay for it. I would. Norproil says, do you have an opinion on the price of the Switch 2 in the games? It's been all over the internet. No, I haven't. And I don't know too much about Switch. So I only know basically in context of students bringing Switches to class, which, to be honest, I really could care less about with it at this point. Whatever. Do whatever you want, kids. Yeah, no teacher in their right mind ever tries to take anything away from a kid ever again. I always get a little frustrated when they're like, "Why didn't the teacher do something?" And I'm like, "I don't know. I can't imagine why." Maybe look at a few TikToks and you'll see why we never want to take anything away. But no, I'm assuming it must be very high. Corporeal life form wants Morrowind with none of the constraints of the later games. Levitate needs a comeback. I've heard about Levitate. Oblivion too, man. Oblivion. Lockdown created the Musing star. Cues MTV music, says Steve Ransom. Oh dear, that's sweet. And look who it is. It's Gorilla's Morning Thoughts. Morning, thanks, or Censored Thoughts, rather. Thanks for coming on last night. Yes. Thank you. It was fun. It, if that's the right way to talk about it. There was a stream about the passing of the Holy Father and all things Catholic, and there were some interesting questions, among which what my opinion of Nostradamus is, which is not much of an opinion, kind of indifferent. But yes, thank you. So everyone have a look at that. If I'm going to commit, I'm going to say more when the game won't care. Oh, really? Yeah, there is some safeguards in the Skyrim about that. There's certain things you're not allowed to do. Let's see. Steeg says, the Morrowind writer went on a binge for a week after writing the game. True story. Wow. Well, maybe the dude was under some stress. Or maybe living in that world was a little bit too much. My goodness. I came so late to the game on all this. Now, back in the day, I had the whole Atari thing. We had something called the Odyssey. That was something Magnavox made it. Then Super Nintendo, or Nintendo, then Super Nintendo. I remember playing Mario Brothers 1, Mario Brothers 2. Then I was done with Nintendo. Tetris, of course. Everyone played Tetris. Q, 30 years later, and not 30. Yeah, oh my gosh. Was it 30 years later? It was 30 years later. Then Skyrim came around. And the Xbox is probably one of the best purchases I've ever made in my entire life, because not only was it the Xbox, but this was the best way for me to access my cable, my different apps, all cable. We don't use cable anymore. We don't use cable, but you know what I mean. My channels, my online channels, and then my Blu-ray player. I mean, why get a separate Blu-ray player when you can just get it inside of your Xbox? So it was a great purchase. Screw addicts is real. Addiction is real. Is he as crazy now like Stephen King? Oh gosh, well, while writing the game, not after. Okay, yeah. Oh. TDS, it's a different kind of crazy. TikTok, what else is Rabbit's friend enjoy it? Oh gosh. Like the legend of Zelda. Maybe I will. Now my mom, she was addicted to it, and I'd have to sit and read it to her. She loved playing Zelda. She played all the iterations for quite a while, until the mid-90s. I blame the cats for that, says Hound 3000. What'd the cats do? Oh, scuba addiction. Okay. I accidentally did that to my character once. Oh, yikes. Oh, well, Salty Traveling C is here with a super sticker. It is $1.49, and it is a rose. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And thank you for what you sent me in the DMs. I have not been able to set it up yet. I'm sorry. Is there a way I could do it? Because maybe the anti-boomer in me, I'm not a boomer, but I was trying to figure that out. But thank you very, very, very much. And for that, you, sir, get a rose. And I promise you, I will do it later. Yesterday was insane. When pontiffs go to the great beyond, it's always a crazy day for me. Robin Williams was a gamer, named his kid Zelda. Wow. I did not realize that. Everyone's saying hello. Happy Taco Tuesday. So Sticky always says, I don't get why he's salty. He's obviously rich. So all good. Just DM later if you need a quick assist. Thank you. Thank you very much. Yes, because I wanted to do that for you. I wanted to. I was, yeah. Fear and Loathing. That's how Fear and Loathing was written, says Stephen Ransom, but he used a scroll of paper and a real typewriter to achieve continuous typing. Oh. Norporeal Life Form says, yep, I included his commercial for Ontario of Time 3D in my retrospective and the date. He didn't name her after. Okay. Nope. Okay, so they're talking about Robin Williams. Salty Traveling Sea says, rich? Damn, 149 is rich. Well, everything's relative in these situations. Oh, he's asking if we went, if Salty wants a souvenir from Japan. Yeah, dude's going to Japan. It's crazy. Well, not crazy, and everyone has a dream, and I just wish that I could just beam over to Japan and not have to deal with the jet lag and deal with the whole long flight. I mean, when I go across the pond, 6 hours difference, 7 hours difference, I'm messed up. I can't imagine going to Japan. I think the worst would be Australia, I suppose. Uh-oh, Steve's causing trouble. What does he say? Ask Teresa how I managed to give a super chat on YouTube Salter a truly boomer method. Yes. It was during a celebration situation. He PayPal'd me the money, and then I did the super chat. And somehow the calculations got worked out. Yes, I do recall that. Norroyal says, Miss Martin Muses, when you watch the Star Trek the motion picture, you will think twice about beaming to Japan. True. That is the most horrifying scene ever. Probably the greatest, only truly great moment from the motion picture movie. They left us with something that was truly memorable. And what did they say? What came back didn't live long. Oh, and they're just sitting there screaming. Yeah, that movie was something else. But then we got the Wrath of Khan. It's like, oh my gosh, this is what it can be. This is what it can be. It was amazing. Steeg says, V'ger. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Wow. But it gave us the Wrath of Khan. Maybe people have studied it about what went so wrong with that and what went so right with the Wrath of Khan. I think I was following all that back in the day, but life has happened since then. Oh, back when Star Trek was good, and wow, Captain Kirk's the only one still with us in his 90s. It's amazing. Pearl FM says, I will have to try to talk like Ricardo Montalban for an entire stream. Oh my gosh. Have a good time, Lumster Lifeform. Japan is current home of awesome. Did you mail a smoked fish? Oh no. Oh no. Can you imagine how bad that would smell by the time it ended up? Hey, he once did mail me mackerel though, but it was in a can. Does that count? I'm a fan of the motion picture, says the Day Got Lot. Interesting. That scene where they are kind of like in slow motion because they're going through some weird sort of, was it a nebula or light speed? I forget. It reminded me of the Willy Wonka, like the adult version of the Willy Wonka weird scene where they went through that tunnel. I just don't get it. All right. Oh boy, Steeg says, actually, maybe I should read Steeg's before I highlight them. Okay, here we go. Steeg Kenobi says, the Wrath of Khan dropped the ball. Boo. Spock died. 2 minutes later, Star Trek will return in the search for Spock. Obviously, he's alive. People who cry at that scene are wusses. Well, we didn't know that when it first came out. But true, when they announced the next movie and it was called, we learned it was called The Search for Spock, we knew what was going to happen. Though wouldn't that have been awful if the whole movie was about the search for Spock and then at the end they go, oh, whoops, guess we never found him. That would have been the worst movie ever. Oh, everyone's saying it's like a 2-hour episode. All right, I guess I'm just an Shole on 4K. Star Trek: The Motion Picture is gorgeous. Oh, really? I cry every time we're at Shackleton's acting is on point. That is true. Well, it's also pretty grim when they think they're all gonna die, and then at the last minute they go to light speed, and what is it? Sulu says, "We're not gonna make it, are we?" And then who does he look at? And then they just shake their head. It's like, no, we're gonna die. But then it doesn't. And they think that Scotty did it, but no, he looks and he sees the empty chair with Spock being gone. I like the one part though where he says, "How do you feel?" And he goes, "I feel young." Smilex, hello. We love our animals here at Miss Martin Musings. The motion picture is the only true Star Trek film. Each subsequent movie gets further away from Roddenberry's vision. I can see that. The distortion was because the deflector wasn't moving matter out of the way. Oh, thank you, Stephen Ransom. You see, I love the sci-fi. Yes, you did, says Steve Kenobi. It says in the movie when the credits start that the next one will be Search for Spock. Oh, well, I stand corrected. I was like 8 when I watched it. It was on VHS. I strongly suspect my grandfather pirated it. Search for Spock wasn't a walk in the park either. Kirk suffered another loss, incredible journey. True. You killed my son, you Klingon bastard. You're Klingon Oh, there we go. Salty read my mind, or I read his. You Klingon bastard, you killed my son. Here we go. Steve Kenobi says, the Captain Kirk actor opened an underwear store in the 80s, closed after 3 weeks. Turns out Shatner panties wasn't good. Why? Why do you do this? The only one written by Roddenberry before he was fired upstairs. Oh, well, that's probably why. I also feel like the motion picture, says Smilix. Yeah, it's the best score of any Star Trek films. Wrath of Khan is fun, though. True. Yeah. And the Next Generation ripped it off for their theme song. The needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few or the one. Spock being Christian. Let's see. The needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few or the one. Yes and no. But then the needs of the one outweigh the needs of the many. That's also Christian. So it's all paradoxical. Shatner. Oh dear. Everyone's Tiberius's secrets. Oh gosh. Steve Kenobi. The search for Spock is probably really easy to make a horn parody of. The title makes itself. Oh my gosh. Why? Oh my gosh. You see, you never know what's going to happen on a Miss Martin Muses thing when I have an open Musings. They're talking about the scene. Norporeal Lifeform says it is pure magic, the best Star Trek in my humble opinion, even better than the original series theme song. Oh, that, sir, is blasphemy, but I'll let you have that. I remember riding BMX bikes, says Salty Traveling Sea, with my brother to see Star Trek 3 opening night. Yay! Then we went to the county fair and snuck in to see 3 Dog Night. 80s ruled. Yeah, that was back when we would just ride our bikes without helmets. I once bought the Star Trek Tiberius cologne. Did not attract hot green chicks, though, says Smilix. 1 out of 5 stars. Steve Kenobi. The needs of my one outweighs any needs of you. The search for something that rhymes with Spock. The needs of my one outweigh. Well, wouldn't it be outweigh any need because it's plural for needs? Yeah, people are impressed with you, Steve. Well, hello there, Steve. That escalated. It sure did. Yeah, we escalate here at Miss Martin Muses. It's good times. My gosh, yeah, y'all are fun. Yeah, so we were talking about the hammer, and now we're in morning. I don't know what's going on today. What's going on today? So we have the mourning period. Oh yeah, we're in the sede vacante, also called the Interregnum. Oh, I talked about that on my short. Is a period governed by papal law which admits of no changes in church government or the spiritual or material patrimony of St. Peter, save the election of the successor. So that's all we got to do, kids. We do have a dude like kind of keeping the lights on, if you will, but everything's just kind of stopped, which might be a good thing. Yeah, the hammer. Oh, Steve says, I don't really hold back much, Salty. You know this. Star Trek, the penetration. The next penetration. Total commitment to excellence. Okay. My gosh. Ooh. I just don't know what to do with my life. I just don't know what to do. Oh, check this out. I did not know that. And since we are in interregnum, yeah, it's called the Novendialis, which I probably mispronounced. Day 1, on each day, there's a public funeral at each of the major churches, and there is a special mass for a deceased pope and the liturgy of the hours. So we've got 9 days of that. And also, let's see, the initial rites observe the liturgical precedence for the octave of Easter. Oh man, since he died within the octave of Easter, things are going to be different. Excluding Sundays and solemnities, the mass formula for deceased pope and the offices of the dead are celebrated during the Easter season. He's going to be laying in state, and after the funeral and burial, the mourning period continues until the 9 days are completed. All right. Yeah, so nothing really too exciting. We did get to see him on TV, or rather, they released a video of that today. Captain Jerk and Mr. Oh gosh, you guys are awful. All right, Ham 3000. The needs of empowering women outweighs the needs of men. Salty Traveling Sea says, I was reading about the Pope peaking in 1958. The theory that the actual Pope was passed over. Fascinating. Oh, yeah, that's where a lot of people think that none of the popes have been valid since then. I tend to disagree with that. People just are ticked off at John the 23rd for Vatican II. Have you tried Hare Krishna? I don't know what to do with my life either, says Mars Monkey Max. Yeah, that's true. Smilex says, okay, fine, I'll be Pope. I'm not a fan of the robes, but those hats are pretty awesome. Plus, yeah. There is a period in Tibetan Buddhism, says Stephen Ransom, that's similar when a lama passes and his incarnation is in process of reincarnation. Oh, interesting. Now, I read that, though, instead of saying Dolly or llama, I read that like a llama, like the animal. And I'm like, why would they do that for an animal? Salty Traveling. Oh, if they died the Pope and everyone is the first to find him. My goodness gracious. Yeah, well, that would be interesting, but we've already found him. We've seen him. Let's see. So next, after the mourning period comes a funeral and burial, but the funeral comes during. Oh, here we go. Between the 4th and 6th day after the death, that is, on the 5th, 6th, or the 7th day of the mourning period, a solemn funeral mass is celebrated in St. Peter's Basilica. So Yeah, the principal celebrant is always the dean of the College of Cardinals, who at the time of Pope John Paul II's death was Joseph Cardinal Ratzinger, prefect of the prefect of the Congregation for the Doctrine of the Faith. Yeah, we all knew he was going to be elected, almost entirely positive. That was such a great pope. The solemn funeral mass is concelebrated by other cardinals, the patriarchs, archbishops, bishops, prelates of the papal household, abbots, religious, and Roman clergy. Man, that's a lot of people. Noteworthy in the funeral mass are the singing of the Gregorian introit, Requiem aeternam dona eis Domine. Eternal rest grant unto them, O Lord, the rite of commendation with the blessing and incense of the body, and the farewell at the end of the mass with its hymn and Paradisum dedicante angeli. May the angels lead you into paradise. The deceased pope is then buried. These ceremonies include covering the face with a veil of white silk, placed at the feet of the deceased pope placing at the feet of the deceased pope a red silk bag containing bronze and silver medals from each year of his pontificate, the reading and signing of the official notification of the burial, which is then inserted into a lead tube, sealed, and placed in the coffin. So I guess it's so we know. And then it used to be placed in, rather, after the coffin was closed, it was sealed and placed in a lead coffin, which itself was placed in the outer coffin made of oak. Pope Francis simplified the burial process by eliminating the use of 3 coffins, with the new procedure detailed in something. Finally, by custom, the coffin is hermetically sealed and placed in the ground, that is, below the floor of the crypt, over which placed a marble slab bearing the Pope's name. Huh. Yeah, and Pope Francis wants to be buried or interred in the Basilica of St. Mary Major because of his devotion to Mary, Mother of God. The funeral mass, though, will be held in St. Peter's Square. The last pope not to be buried in St. Peter's Basilica was Pope Leo the 23rd, who died in 1903 and was buried in the Basilica of St. John Lateran in Rome. Well, there we go. There we have it. So that's what we can expect. Big hitter llama. Oh, hello, Buddy Hepburn. Thank you. Dalai Lama. Yeah, I was really thinking. I just had this picture. I just saw the animal because I just saw llama. All right. Do popes become saints? They can be. They can. Pope John Paul II, John the 23rd, old popes, Pope Gregory, the Gregorian chant dude. Not all, though. Not all. Actually, we're not even sure that all of them are in the happy place. The fires are hotter for a pope because much is expected of him. All right, we already had that about the Easter. Now everyone's spelling llama with the LH and all of that. And then when the Dalai Lama passes, he is renamed Dolly Parting. 2 tickets to paradise, 3 coffin Monty. Good morning, everyone, says Rachel Percy Art. Yes, thank you for being here, Miss Art. Hey, Salty and Steven, Pope Gregory the Enchanted. No, he's actually Pope Gregory the Great, who was the baddest of the popes. Generally, we like to name Alexander the Sixth. He was bad. I think he was the one that was played by Jeremy Irons. I mean, yeah, he was not a good guy. So that's one that comes to mind. His personal life was definitely bad or not something to be desired. That's the one that comes off the top of my head. Steve wants to become a saint. I'm going to try to become a saint just for spite. That's a little bit self-contradictioning, isn't it? Dolly Parton had to quit being a teacher, says D. Kenobi. Every time she turned around, she wiped the blackboard. No. Actually, the Pope wasn't part of the Inquisition. Yeah. Saucy Traveling Sea, not to be critical, perhaps set your sights a little lower. Aw. There are some 85 popes that were named saints. Oh, thank you. Thank you, buddy. Hepburn. Yeah, but definitely not all of them. No. Well, duh. What's wrong with me? Of course, St. Peter. Well, Peter, Linus, Clement, Sistus, Cornelius, Alexander, the first 6, 7 popes, I think, that are in the Roman canon, they definitely were saints. Aim for the stars, says D. Kenobi, and you'll hit a mountaintop if you fall short, Salty. I want Father Guido Sarducci for pope. I'll have to look that up. Let's see. Yeah. Well, and not to get too technical into history, but, there wasn't like an inquisition. They were localized in different places, different times, different countries. It's a little more complicated than a lot of that kind of stuff. But anyways, you think Francis will be canonized? Oh, no. I'll leave it at that. There were some issues that probably, I don't know, YouTube might kick me off for talking about, not necessarily with him personally, but definitely issues. Miss Martin, I watched Moses the Black episode of The Saints last week, says No Prayer Life from Powerful, Story, and Violent. Oh, yeah. Stories of the saints are incredibly violent, especially the early church ones. Many popes made cameos in Dante's book series. That is true. That is true. He made a point. Does no one in character get the 1970s SNL skit on Guido Sarducci? Oh, in chat, I think you're trying to say, I guess. Oh, wait a second. Is that? Well, that just shows you either how old you are or how young we are, though I think we're kind of the same age. Guido Star. He was a Saturday Night Live character. Okay. My goodness gracious. Sorry. Or maybe I haven't had enough coffee to be clever about something like that. Oh dear me. I, of course, would love Cardinal Burke. I learned that it was fake news that he is not eligible to be part of the voting process. He's only 76. I thought he was older. So I love Cardinal Burke. He's a great man. I've met him on several occasions, and he, frankly, has everything we need to be Pope. But there is no way, first of all, they will elect an American, and second of all, things have happened. He was the Apostolic Signatura under Benedict, and for a while under Francis, and Francis kind of exiled him for no good reason. Well, there is a theme when he would crack down on people, and it's so backward. They never did anything wrong. They just tended to be too Catholic. He just seemed to not like people that were very staunchly Catholic, which is such a contradiction in itself. But look the other way for lots more horrendous things that were happening, and even elevated people of questionable background. The Babylon Bee said something pretty harsh but true. It was a parody. It said, here's hoping, or Cardinals, what is it? Cardinals plan to elect a Catholic next time. Yeah. But in his charity, Cardinal Burke was praying for him and everything and being there for him. I remember this John Belushi Star Trek cancellation skit, the Billy Goat Tavern Cheeseburger skit. Oh, Steve Ransom remembers. I'm becoming an old man referencing no one knows. F me. Before my time. Let's see. I have still not been to the tavern on Lower Wacker Drive. We need a Japanese Pope. Could be, but I doubt it. Honestly, I think it's up in the air. No one saw it coming when Francis was elected, or if they did, it was an outlier. Everyone pretended that they saw it coming, but this is a very odd time right now. If it was an Asian one that's old school conservative, that would be great. A Latin pope, yeah. The last one was Latin, yeah. I like Sarah. I like Cardinal Sarah. Yeah, Cardinal Burke, he was done dirty. Lots of good holy men were it's just such a weird time. Such a weird time. And we need some clarity. First of all, I think we're all a little bit over all of this globalism stuff, and you're not really as a pope, you're not really supposed to get into that, right? We had issues. We had issues with that political stuff in the Renaissance and everything, so they got away from it, and he's really not supposed to weigh on things that are not matters of the faith. And I think that's what caused so much confusion. And he was very dogmatic on things that were prudential and prudential on things that were dogmatic. It was like everything was backwards. It was very confusing. Francis exploited the scandal into grabbing power for the liberation theology globalists wanted in place. Yeah, they did take advantage of that. But then ironically, yeah. Benedict, he really put the hammer down on all that stuff, and somehow Francis loosened it. I think it's very makes me very cranky though when they're like, "Oh, he cared for the poor and all this," and it's like he's not the first pope to have ever done that. All right? No, they're Orthodox. They have a papa. Well, you have Orthodox in every country. In the 70s, SNL was excellent. That is true. Salty Traveling, early 80s decent, early 90s all right. After that, total trash. Yeah. Only the occasional funny skit. Should Jesuits even be popes? I honestly don't know. Well, I think after this pope, we've all learned no. No. And let's just say it one more time. No. It was a bad idea. Though, technically, I think that once you are elevated to the bishop, you're like no longer part of your order. But you're always kind of considered part of it. It's like being an alumni of your alma mater. The Orthodox Papa is Russian. Well, if you're talking Russian Orthodox, yeah. We've got Orthodox all over the place. Definitely. Yeah, Orthodox with a big O versus Orthodox with a small O. We went a small O. That's what we're talking about when we say Orthodox. Got to remember to keep checking for streams, says Archicon. Yes, thank you. And again, I really wish in a perfect world I would be able to do these regularly, but if life happens, then I'm not around. But so far, life hasn't happened. Well, life definitely happened yesterday, but not the kind of life that will interfere with a streaming schedule. So, I've been telling everybody, don't listen to a word of anything. And not a word. You can't trust, obviously, the mainstream media. You can't trust influencers, even Catholic influencers. We've learned that they have been compromised, just like the MAGA influencers, many of them have, as well as so-called conservative ones. You can't trust anyone. And then one of their goals will be to demoralize us. So you're going to see a lot of, oh, this guy is going to be elected and he's going to change everything and he's great. And he's not like those awful, awful Catholics who like being Catholic. No. And they're going to try to demoralize us and they're going to lie and do all of this stuff. And it just don't listen to it. It's going to be bad. And like I said, I'm almost more cranky today over influencers than I am with the mainstream media, if that tells you how bad things, in my humble opinion, have gotten. Archer Collins says the Lotus Eaters did a segment on the late Pope, which was actually quite even-handed, mentioning a lot of base things he had said, as well as the woke. Yes, that is true. He did say some base things. See, and that's the other thing. It would be crazy when it came to like matters of faith and morals when a pope is supposed to pope. Like when he was talking about things he was supposed to talk about, yes, he was based. It was when he talked about things he wasn't supposed to talk about. He was letting his human inclinations get in the way. Yes. Stephen Ranson says, isn't Catholicism the globalist religion? Well, when we talk about globalism, you know what I mean? Like the deep state kind of WEF kind of globalism. The other way, says Hound 3000, what's the difference between Orthodox and unorthodox? Always gets confused on that. Well, if you're talking about the big O and the little o, big O Orthodox, those are the churches based on the original ancient churches and fully Catholic. This is where things get confused, right? But our beliefs are completely in line. They have valid priesthood. They call it the divine liturgy, 7 sacraments. They call them mysteries. Our beliefs are the same. There was a split in the last millennium that is a little more complicated than it's very difficult for me to say. But I like to think to explain it very simply. There was a jurisdictional. It was a political split. It was not necessarily a doctrinal split. So we're together as far as the sacraments go, as far as the beliefs and everything, as opposed to the churches that split and rebelled in the Reformation. That was a theological thing. That was a breaking of like sacraments and all that. So you will look at, let's just throw this out here, like the Anglican Church or the Methodist Church. We're not the same. Okay. Like I always like to explain this to people. If I got hit by a bus and there was not a Roman Catholic priest around, but across the street there was an Orthodox priest, he could validly give me the sacraments. Under normal circumstances, we probably wouldn't do that because we respect each other's boundaries, but it technically could happen. I meant globalism. Insert big O joke here. Oh, dear. Yes. Now, when we say Orthodox with a small o, we're talking about like solid, like true faith. So you would say, hey, is this person Orthodox? If you're talking about particularly the Roman Catholic Church, or talking about in the Latin rite of the church, or in any rite of the Roman Catholic Church, of the Catholic Church, you mean like, does this priest basically believe, or does this person believe and teach what the Catholic Church teaches? That's called Orthodox with a small o. Isn't Catholicism? Oh wait, we already said that. We just said that. Orthodox. Norporial life form. The Orthodox consider every other denomination as unorthodox. Yeah, and he's saying that as someone from an Orthodox background. What about the Council of Trent channel? Yeah, that's solid. That's solid, and he does a very good job of describing how we all feel. It's just so weird that we were all just very somber instead of sad. Okay, we already said that. I meant globalism. Unorthodox is what I do. Says Steve. What? Yeah. So when I Catholic explain, you will only hear Orthodox things. If I'm speaking on my opinion, I'll tell you what my opinion is. I will, but I will always give you the church teaching. Archer Collin is talking to Stephen Ransom. To be fair, I would think that most religions would be globalist, at least in believing everyone should follow that faith. I suppose it depends on how much religion affects society. Yeah. But definitely, as far as Christianity goes, it's the biggest with the most thing. Methodists are more polarized than Orthodox or Catholics. That is true. They are going through a lot of issues, I feel, for those that are torn in the middle of it all. Yes. Part of the problem, though, is that's what happens when you don't have a magisterium. Because if all you had to do is pick up the Bible and it would just all be clear, then, well, we'd all be Lutherans because, well, that's all he said to do, right? Well, of course, we all know there was more to it than that. It was more my interpretation of the Bible wants to have precedent over the magisterium. Salty Traveling Sea is explaining to Mars Monkey Max in the last decade, all institutions were infiltrated, occupied, and captured by the globalists. We're starting to see some of that corruption start to crack, but not enough. No. And there is a concern. There is a concern that what we're seeing right now is just a crack, but it will be very easy to close that gap. And while maybe some things are being settled here in the United States, the rest of the world they're not shutting down. They're focusing on the rest of the world. So we might definitely find ourselves in a situation where we will be isolated, vulnerable, and who knows. And that is why I am so cranky on the friendly fire and the stupidity, and I will call it stupidity, that we are seeing within our side. It's like, don't take your eyes off the ball. And it's like they just can't resist. And it's like, I get so frustrated. It just drives me crazy. Stephen Ransom says, Triple M, yesterday you said something about the enemy infiltrating the weakest part of the churches, which we should really be cautious. Darn right. Yeah, always keep your guard up. The devil goes about prowling like a roaring lion, seeking a soul to devour. I didn't say that. It's been a slow change. Okay, maybe I'm not sure what you're referring. Okay, Norporeal Lifeform says, Hound 3000 needs some hugs. Orthodox love kissing icons. The filioque is another issue. Nicene Creed change about the Holy Spirit proceeding from the Father and the Son. Yes, filioque. That's why I didn't want to get too much into it, and I'll be a jerk without the why, but that's okay. The filioque in the Nicene Creed, correct. Originally, the original wording was proceeds from the Father, and then the Father and the Son was added to it in the Roman side. I say both are right, but yes, there was an issue. There's a theological discussion to be had there, as well as kissing icons. So we kiss icons, As the zombie box reviews, hello. C. Kenobi says, I found a reindeer sausage in the fridge. It's a snack thing. Really good. Yay. Well done. Yeah, I know you were looking for some reindeer. Archer Collins says, I did see it suggested that all religions could be considered pathways to God, at least those monotheistic ones at least require one to believe in God as a starting point. Well, yes, definitely from a certain point of view, because any time that you are in your heart turned toward the divine, yeah, there's always that first step. Okay, so people are asking about the reindeer sausage. It's a thing over there. They also have reindeer jerky. Norporeal Lifeform says, I don't know anything about Methodists. Are they like Lutherans or Presbyters? No. I like to think of them as they're first cousins of the Anglicans, because they were. John Wesley, he was an Anglican priest, a Church of England, and really through no fault or intention of his own, kind of the Methodist Church got started. It was more evangelical. To be honest, I forget how that quite split happened, but definitely very close to the Anglicans. So if you want to think about the origins, you have the church, then you have the Church of England, the Roman Catholic Church, the Church of England, and then Methodist. So that's how that little tree works. Lutherans, that's a different branch coming off of the Catholic Church, and then of course Presbyter is another thing entirely. Let's see. Great way to pass the time. Oh, Norporeal Lifeform. I play Spot the Grifter when I watch new videos. Oh, see goes, grifters make everything worse on both sides. Darn right. Okay, I missed that original comment. Agreed. Stick with scripture. See, I have never seen icons in a Catholic church, says Nordport Life Forum. I have seen some sick sculptures of the Blessed Virgin Mary, but other saints in Christ himself. Yeah. Well, yes, we do tend more towards statues, but you will see icons. It depends on where you are. I mean, the whole thing in Spain, the Black Madonna, and I will grant you that though, that we are not as icony as you all are. But yes, we will venerate icons, a whole iconoclastic thing. And I guess, yeah, you might kiss like the cross or something as a veneration. It really just depends on what one. And but also remember that when we're talking Roman Catholic, it's not always the Latin rite. You know, we do have Byzantine rites, and it just depends on where you live if you are around those different rites. Salty Traveling Sea says so many grifters shifting, exposing their absolute hypocrisy and low intelligence. Sadly, it almost sounds like Protestantism and Catholicism. Not necessarily. Well, when you're talking about what Protestantism is, it's not the accidentals. It's not the symbols and things. It's the theology. Because you can look at a Church of England, like I was about to say, I wonder why. Look at Westminster Abbey, and it might look pretty Catholic. Well, because it was, was ours. But that might look Catholic, but that's not Catholic. All right, the multiplicity of churches, says Stephen Ransom, is the most disturbing part of modern religion. It's almost as bad as YouTube. And that difference of opinion, but all on the same platform, yes. And that is one of the arguments. And that is why when some of these revolts happened in the Western church, it was warned. This is what's going to happen. We're just going to keep splitting. You need to stay unified. Of course, no one ever listens. Archer Collins says, come to think about it, I generally connect with the concept of the icon with the Eastern churches rather than the Western. Yeah, I mean, and in personal devotion, I have icons, and they're pretty. Pretty. Seek says, easy to spot them, Salty. They're talking about grifters. One can tell they only have Wikipedia knowledge of whatever they are upset about, quote unquote. Yeah, and suddenly everyone gets upset about the same thing. Yeah, there's different levels of grifters. Like when I talk about influencers, I'm talking about the real big ones, the ones that you will see on X, the ones that you will now see like in the White House, for example. And while I think it is a good idea to reach out to influencers, they need to be careful. We already saw the huge disaster of Bindergate. That was bad. And people in the administration are, for lack of a better word, being special right now with how they're behaving on Twitter, and they're firing out of turn, and it's not a good idea. It's like, keep your eye on the ball. You have a goal, you have a job, do that job. But they're getting high on themselves. And it's not a good idea. It's actually a very bad idea. Oh, yeah. Well, I will not call out names here. So I'm just going to skip over that a little bit because, unless someone is here to defend themselves. Let's see. Archer Collins says, Ms. Martin Muses, is Byzantine Rite a Catholic? I tend to conflate Byzantine with Greek Orthodox. Byzantine Rite is basically Greek Orthodox in the Catholic Church. Please don't hate me if you're Greek Orthodox. So if you were to go to a Byzantine Rite, those are the ones that came into communion with the church in Rome, in communion with the Catholic Church. So if you kind of like Greek Orthodox and you're Roman Catholic and want to fully participate, yeah, go to a Byzantine Rite. Yeah, I will do a Catholic explaining on this at one time. As I looked it up, there's 24 rites in the church. And of course, we're focused on the Latin Rite because we're Western. We don't always think otherwise. We were talking last night on Gorillas about the Coptic Catholics. You have the Coptic Orthodox and then the Coptic Catholics, you have the Maronite rite. Let's see. How many rites? I just got to Google this because this is going to drive me crazy. Are in the Catholic Church. Yeah. So you will get all of the benefits. And I think I told you yesterday, this is within the Latin Rite, but you can go into basically what will be High Church of England, but in full communion with the Catholic Church. And that's loads of fun, especially if you do come from an Anglican background. 24. I was right. I knew it. There are 24. Some people say 23. I say 24. So Google it, everyone. They are high on the times. Darn right. Yes. And it's a really bad idea. And it's causing them to do stupid things. It's like they think, yay, we won. Now no one's going to do anything to us ever again. So watch me be an idiot. Salty knows what I'm talking about. Less Fox News appearances, more perp walks. Yeah, what has she actually done? And that whole stunt she did? First of all, I would have fired her on the spot if I were Trump. But sadly, I think Trump is a little high on himself. Like, his Easter message was dumb. Dumb. It's like, listen, you won the swing states, but you didn't win them by that much. Stop it. Stop, frankly, sabotaging 2028. Yeah. Did you notice that she never did a follow-up? She never did a press conference. She shook up everything, got internet famous on her ex, and then boom, nothing. She talks, she does nothing. Some of those history of the church courses again. Yes. That's why they speak in one voice, says Stephen Ransom. Okay. Thanks for clarifying that. Okay, yeah, no problem. Let's see. They are just doing the business thing. Grifting is a modern practice of grind. Yeah. And I guess if you know that, you'll be fine. But people do take it seriously. My problem is when you have influencers that are influencing, like, literally, and many people in the current administration are acting like influencers. And it's like, stop it. It's okay. So you've won the internet, but you lose the election. Oh, people just are so stupid. Just like we were saying, don't let your guard down, whether spiritually. You can look at that in a secular point of view. Don't let your guard down. Quit resting on your laurels and quit being an idiot. Yeah, they're wondering who they're talking about here. Yeah, I'm careful because I don't, again, I don't like to do that. Oh, the current attorney general. Yes, Pam Bondi. Oh, what a mess. Mess. I have no use for her. She doesn't do anything. She just talks. It's the same old, same old, same old. Maybe there were some things that happened behind the scenes because that stunt backfired so badly. But what that stunt also showed us is how much they really are, and especially the influencers, are compromised. That they're not sincere either. They're getting their little messages and they're sending out their little messages what they're supposed to do. And it's not authentic. We also saw how they got exposed for being paid. Like, if you post a tweet with generally this wording, you can get up to $1,000 a tweet, $1,000 a post. So you don't know who to trust anymore. It's just as bad as the mainstream media. And that's why all of a sudden they'll all seem to be saying the same things. You can't trust them. And I guess I shouldn't be naive to think that I could trust. It's like, will it be different with us? Apparently it's not. Be careful. Be careful, people. Use discernment. Let's see. They are practicing the art of fake it till you... Okay, we're talking about two different things here. Playing to the influencers, says Archer Collin, makes me wonder if they are simply ignoring the normies who still make up the majority of the voters. That's what they're doing, and they're being stupid. They're being stupid. And I will even say, even at the top, quit being stupid. Do what we voted you to do. Didn't vote you to be the troll in chief. We didn't vote for you to jerk people's chains. We voted for you to get something done, not to sabotage. Everyone should be taking everything as a grain of salt. No offense, Salty. Yeah. What did Bondi do now? Nothing. That's her problem. But she started off bad. And they even said they knew it wasn't true, but they wanted to send a message to the media. And it's like the mainstream media, like, we're in charge now. That's what that chick from The Blaze said. I think she's from The Blaze. One of the people behind it. And it's like, so you weren't being authentic. You knew it wasn't true, but you were just wanting to send a message. It's like, then we can't trust you. If what you're doing is just to rub it into like the mainstream media, if your yes is not yes and your no is not no, then I cannot trust you. They can't seem to get that through their stupid heads. And when I say stupid, these are very intelligent people, but pride is clouding their judgment. Okay, so that, yeah, we're talking about two different things. Well, all I'll say about it is community, all of that. It was never so. I got blackpilled pretty quickly about it. It's good. It is good marketing. The that's Lindbeck's people, but yeah. Yeah, we've got a midterm coming. We've got an election coming up. I'll I'm still mad about this. Right, the day before an election, Trump thought it'd be funny to make a joke, apparently, or maybe he's serious about, yeah, I'm going to run for a third term 2 days before an election. Thanks. Thanks for, we're sitting here on the ground trying to get stuff done. We don't need any sabotage. Thank you very much. Just because you think it's funny. Alrighty, here we go. Salty Traveling Sea is talking about the slow roll. Yeah, and this is bad. This is hurting the credibility because it's not just her. This is the administration. And I know we've only been in here 2 months, but come on, quit messing up this badly. A slow roll of what appears to be stagnation and charging criminals for, I think, shots, lockdowns, green scam, voting fraud, border. Yeah, she talks a lot, doesn't she? She sure talks a lot, but what has she actually done? Not a lot. But that was really bad. Really, really bad. Like, the next day after she did that open letter to Kash Patel, there should have been a press conference and people should have been in jail. The fact that people weren't in jail made me wonder, was she honest with us? Was something else going on? I hate that. Get off of social media. Get off social media and get the job done. Knock it off. Far too many photo ops and not enough action. Well, you know who doesn't just do photo ops and has a lovely channel? It is Anti-Derivative Jill. Thank you for the super sticker. She has given me some popcorn. Yay, for $1.49. Thank you very much. And for that, you, madame, get a Let's see. Everyone's saying hi, hello, good morning. Morning, you're welcome. Yeah, I'm getting fired up because we don't have time to play. We don't have time to play, and they're playing. They need to act like grown-ups and get the job done. They're just as bad, frankly, as people playing around with YouTube, some of the things that we're talking about, except for the fact that that's not, like, affecting the future of the world, okay? Quit playing games, get to work. I didn't elect a troll in chief. I elected a commander in chief. Salty Traveling Sea says you do not leave an enemy that wants to destroy you intact or able to reattack you. To isolate and destroy the enemy, you don't do what's happening now. Exactly. And well, the thing is, they're posted on X like it's immediate. We need this. It's awful. This is terrible. And then you're like, so you're sitting in the I don't want to say the word, but SWAT teams and all of that. No, nothing. It's like they just want to get us all upset. Again, they're acting like they're just running YouTube channels or Instagram and not running the country. Archer Collins says, agreed. It's yes, a lot to talk, but very little action, it seems. To be fair, I can see them finding out it's not as easy as they hope to do that they wanted. But optics, yeah. Well, and then say that. Don't sit around and say, we're going to do this, and then nothing happens. They're shaking us up for no reason. If you shake us up, fine, but shake us up for a good reason. Rachel Percy-Hart says we really shouldn't have to tell people that the president was just joking about important things. Exactly. And he shouldn't be joking. It's not unlike Pope Francis. Like, there's certain things you can't say as the Pope. There's certain things you can't say about the president, and you sure as hell don't joke about these things. A lot of people put a lot on the line to bring about what happened in November, and it seems like they don't care. I mean, I guess they don't owe us anything technically. No one owes you anything, but we didn't elect you to go in and ruin it all because you can't resist making a joke. And to be honest, if something's a joke, then people are laughing. We're not laughing. Big Outlaw says, you might want to think about all the things they say that look ridiculous. It's part of war to demoralize the opposition. Their reactions expose many of the right people. Strategy. Well, but here's my problem. They're demoralizing us. They're demoralizing us. They're demoralizing the people on their side. It's like they don't have the vision to know the difference. Cash Patel sounds like an evil ex-boyfriend. Hi, hey, Daryl, how are you? Who's Daryl? But hello, Grant. Thank you for being here. Good to see you. Talking about from the future, shake it up, shake it up. Yeah, they may be using a tactic poke to a suspect to move them toward revealing their agendas or point out the real enemy. And fine, but what did Trump do with that Easter message? What did that do? The only people he upsetted was Christians. And guess who got him elected? No reason for him to do that. Not one reason. I'm not mad at you. I'm mad at the situation. We are only human, so I can see occasional caught up at the moment, but someone like Trump needs to really keep in mind how his enemies will use everything he says against him. Yes. And, how can we defend him when he does that? And Carl Benjamin said some really good analysis. He's saying he's making it hard for people to be conservative in other countries. And no, I just hate seeing people pissing away political capital for no reason. For no reason. Like, congratulations, you won the internet, but you lost the war. When he said he was considering a third term, I knew it was him joking, but there are people screaming, he's a dictator, we told you. Yeah. Well, and then it didn't help that he said, no, I'm not joking. This is how I'm going to do it. And he basically said that he was going to be a puppet for J.D. Vance. And I'm like, well done. Well done. Why don't you just sabotage 2028 for us? For what? What did he gain? And that was 2 days before an election. There's some people in my personal sphere that really get upset, and they're like, well, but Biden did this, Biden did that. It's like, it doesn't matter what Biden did. He's not the president. And trust me, if you were on his side, you are enjoying what's going on right now. Because when someone is shooting themselves in the foot, you don't get them out of the way. And it's for nothing. That's all I'm saying. It's for nothing. If you're really trying to do some stuff, you don't do it on X. You don't do horrible jokes I mean, that was just horrible. It n and trust me, there are enough people that to get offended by that Easter message that might not vote in the midterms over that. I mean, it just showed how I mean, why would he be so disrespectful to the people that supported him? And I mean, we all know he's a jerk. We all know that he doesn't think. Oh, I said Darl, short form of darling. Oh, my fault. Pissing away goodwill, Trump's second campaign. Unfortunately. Like, why? Agreed, the war is here. It's a class war. Yeah. Just for Vance, he's ruining the opportunity we all fight for and lost friends over it. You see, that's it. That's it. I think that that's why I'm so upset. Family members. And then he goes and does that. Well, thank you. I mean, and I'm someone that will likely vote for Vance in 2028, right? I'm already there and I don't like it. Imagine if you're undecided. It's like they're living in this bubble. It's like, just get off the internet. Quit trying to win the internet and win the war. That's what I would say. I've been paying attention to Vance though. Look at the tone that he's been striking. I think he knows what's what. All right. Oh my gosh, it is 9:30. All right. Time flies when you're having fun, everyone. This has been a great open movings. It's morning. It is morning desolation, California. Sorry, I haven't been following a whole lot. What did the president say? Well, just look at what he said for Easter. They retweeted it on the White House official Twitter. He started it off with saying basically, happy Easter to all who celebrate it. And we're thinking it's going to be a nice thing about Jesus. And he just used, well, just read it. I can't even read it. It's so, again, he thinks he's being funny. He doesn't know how to read the room. Doesn't know how to read the room. I mean, I almost would have preferred a King Charles message over that. And we all know how much Charles has been winning friends lately in Christianity. Good heavens, 9:30. Yes, time flies when you're having fun. Yeah. And among other things, he just can't shut up. He's making it so that if you want to say cooperate with him on the world stage, then you're a traitor to your own country when he says he's going to take it over by force. It's like, how is that funny? How is that funny? Yeah, he's a transitional leader and he needs to start acting like it. He really is acting like he doesn't care if once his term's over, if his work continues. And I just don't get it. I am a little bit happier, though. It does seem like that after that election, uh, Musk has been slowly fading away, and he should, as he should. I mean, his term's almost up, but yeah, he made some missteps as well. PR missteps. It's like they got to realize that people's perception is their reality. Your focus determines your reality. Quit giving them the wrong things to focus on. Quit giving them the win. He's moving some big things to center. Well, hopefully. Yeah. That's why I'm just saying he needs to quit firing out of turn. Yeah. Rachel Percy-Art says it. I like his policy decisions, but my goodness, shut up, Donald. Yeah. Because people do vote on emotions. Should they vote on emotions? No, they shouldn't. But guess what? They do. And most people will tolerate just about anything than being shat on. Or as I sometimes say, no one likes something that rhymes with national. All right. Let me see something here. Is there anything else I want to talk about? Okay. Today allegedly is the first meeting with the pre-conclave kind of situation. There has been some fears of shenanigans because it's like, dudes, you got to give us at least a few days to fly in. Because if you were not in town, obviously we knew that Pope Francis was going to be passing, but not that quickly. They're supposed to be meeting today. I don't even know if they did. And some were protesting. It's like, dudes, let us get on the airplane and get over there. So this conclave stuff. But yeah, we're now before the conclave. It says the days after the funeral and before the conclave begins offers the cardinals an opportunity to discuss the state of the church. They may not do so in a manner which constitutes politicking or electioneering for office or for votes. Okay, I'm going to sound a little bit cynical here. Yeah, sure, Jan. But they're already kind of starting it before the funeral. They've already called them to start meeting today to discuss it. But check this out. The cardinal electors shall abstain from any form of pact, agreement, promise, or commitment of any kind which could oblige them to give or deny their vote to a person or persons. And however, as Pope John Paul II noted, it is not my intention, however, to forbid during the period in which the see is vacant to exchange of views concerning the election. So we're going to have an exchange of views. The cardinals are likewise forbidden to enter any stipulations committing themselves of common accord to a certain course of action should one of them be elevated to the pontificate. These promises should any in fact be made. Okay, these promises should any in fact be made, even under oath, I also declare null and void. So yay, you can all break your word. Well, but you shouldn't be doing it anyways. In the end, despite the human machinations to have the accompanied papal elections by emperors, princes, and cardinals down through history, yeah, and we've seen that happen, the church declares the validity of the election, leaving to God's providence and relying on Christ's promise to Peter the resolution of any earthly difficulties that results. So yeah, so even if maybe there were some compromise, if it is a valid election, it's a valid election. So you can't really mess up the election of a pope. If, God forbid, the election of the Roman pontiff, in the election of the Roman pontiff, the crime of simony were to be perpetrated, I decree and declare that all those guilty thereof shall incur excommunication late sensiae. So you will get excommunicated, though who's going to volunteer? At the same time, I remove the nullity or invalidity of the same simoniacal provision in order that, as was already established by my predecessors, the validity of the election of the Roman pontiff may not for this reason be challenged. So go figure on that one. All right, what else is saying? He's moved. Oh wait, he's not the answer, says Stephen Ransom. He's a catalyst for awareness of a future in the West. Well, yeah. To go back to to Donald, yeah, but we can't have a future if he messes it up. He needs to be more prudential. Like you can call things out without, but if we don't know if we can believe you when you speak, because we don't know if you're joking or not. That's what we don't need. Let your yes be yes, your no be no. Said Rachel Percy Art Vance, who is a way more calm most of the time, will be a better leader if we make that happen. Yeah. But like I said, with his joke, he's already called into question whether or not Vance will be compromised. I said, come on, shut up. Archer Collins says, I did see that Pope Francis apparently packed the Council of Cardinals with his own people, which may make it difficult to elect a more conservative candidate. Yes, we've heard that a lot, and I think that that's being used to demoralize people in many cases, and maybe he was trying to do that. However, I still am a bit of a believer in this kind of stuff about the Holy Spirit works in mysterious ways. Do people really want to sit before the judgment seat? For what? A pope? No politicking in a papal election. Yeah, right. Exactly. Sure, Jan. Sure, Jan. All right. Let me see. Is Mrs. Dadman walking live? Let's see if we can do that. Is she live? She is live. Let me put her link in the chat. Everyone go over, say hi, give her a raid, give her support. There's Mrs. Dadman walking live stream. Stephen Ransom says, yes, and he's proving that thought, whether he's intentionally doing it or not, people are thinking about their power. I think I know what you're saying, but they just got to be careful. Because if you lose the people, you lose. It doesn't matter if you've put powerful people on notice. If you lose the election, you lose the election, as we saw. And some of the things that happened with him, we can questionable things perhaps in the 2020 election. It is a fact that the way he also did behave didn't help himself. Let me just put it to you that way. I do not want to end up with 4 more years of what we went through in 2020 to 2024 because he thought something was funny. Archer Khan says, or even, we're going back to the Catholic stuff, perhaps especially as a non-Catholic, I genuinely hope the new pontiff is a cause for good in the world. And he should be. Well, look at what John Paul II, he's a very good example of that you didn't have to be Catholic to respect that. And even if you're not a Catholic, even if you don't have maybe a horse in this race as far as spiritually, definitely as far as the world goes. We've seen what happened during Francis when the papacy tries to marry the world again. Like, listen, we thought we'd put that stuff behind us in the Renaissance, all right? You can't make friends with the world. Yes, care must be taken. Yeah, exactly. Desolation says, Pope did all that and I just want to walk without stumbling. Popes did all that and I just want to, yeah. And that's all we really want to do. Well, okay, I do have to go. I will be working later today. I've got a few contracts to take care of, but not in the morning. So, yay, that's why I'm here. So, I'm going to ditch you all. Please go say hi and give support, views, super chats, all that good stuff to Mrs. Mrs. Dadman Walking. So, have a great day, everyone. Have a great day. Thank you for being here. Thank you, Archer Collins. Sorry, I forgot my thank yous. I do like to do that. For everyone, thank you. I'd be nothing without you all. Desolation, California. Stephen Ransom, Steve Kenobi, Rachel Perchy Art, Anti-Derivative Jill. Thank you for the super sticker. We had Zombie Box Reviews, Mr. Gregory Grant. See anyone else? Mars Monkey Max. Loads of people coming in and out. We had Hound 8,000, 3,000 rather. And many others. Thank you, Salty Traveling Sea, for the super sticker. And Corporeal Life Form, thank you. Have a great day, everyone. Have a great day. Thank you. And be certain to let your yes be yes and your no be no. And, well, pay attention. Yes, you were here. Pay attention. It is going to be an interesting few weeks. And who knows? Who knows?